So I've decided to continue working on trying to make a digital learning hub for sort of a more interactive and innovative learning environment in the Independent Learning Center. And to do that, I use the Vimosa way of action planning and creating an action plan and strategies. And that's from the Kentucky University with Creative Commons licensing. I found this was really good because it made me make sure that I had both like a vision and a mission statement that were going to back up my action plan. So I was always holding true to the values of what I was trying to achieve with our digital learning hub, particularly since I already had one run at this using Wix. And then after doing some more reading and research and fiddling, sort of worked out that Ning would actually be a much better option. So based on having a clear vision and value statements, I could then start to look at my objectives before I even started creating my action plan. And as far as that goes, there's some very clear objectives that can be broken up into 3 categories that I really want people to experience. So the first one's behavioral. And basically the idea is that all of these things should help my staff and learners to work collaboratively to focus more on personalization and metacognition and using a broader variety of technologies in order to document and submit assessment. That is so our learning outcomes are basically enhanced for all of our learners, keeping those things. 2 talks about having a model like this and how the instructor's responsibilities change, but also the learner's responsibilities change, which also help to then decontextualize the learning. And that's from Strategies for Building a Web 2.0 Learning Environment. 2013. So we're looking at making a more context-rich learning. The constructing and sharing process should allow the learners to organize their own resources and network. The educators are going to have a different knowledge of how a social paradigm kind of works, and change our processes accordingly. So basically, when we think about our objectives with the process, part of my action plan is actually going to include implementing agile project management to not only get this up and running, but in order to keep it up and running and keep it manageable and authentic in the way that we are responsive and the way that we work together as a team to continue to innovate. And also how we want to network our learners and develop agile minds and resourceful individuals in both the staff and the students. And that also comes from 2013. So the final thing that we wanted to look at too is community. We've got a number of different initiatives happening at our school, and we would like to not only be a learning leader for our own department and our own kids, but also a model for how some of the other innovations and learning teams can function. My rationales basically come from issues and opportunities that need to be addressed based on both my research and applied practice knowledge. So I started off by looking at the issues that we have, and that's a lack of proper meeting time and collaboration amongst our staff, and also inconsistent personalization and inconsistency in the way that we're developing the kids' ability to self-direct and manage their own learning program. So Bertino and Joshi talk about this in collaborative computing, and that they look specifically at one aspect of meetings and how you can have multi-threaded or work-related, situated, and opportunistic meetings by using mobile or digital meetings, and how those meetings are initiated and reestablished. So through the Ning, that would definitely be one of my key issues that I would want to address and turn into an opportunity in order to increase staff productivity and connectedness while helping them to minimize time wasted or time spent waiting around. Another aspect of it is opportunities in general that I want to address, and I think that having accessible information on a hub can be used to better support staff and other learners in sort of just in time learning situations, and also be more flexible in how we develop our own staff and professional learning and inspire the entire learning community and how we are going to deliver this innovative program of learning. So when I researched how I could best achieve this and started to look more specifically at NINGS, there are a number of considerations to sort of take into view. So Mao talks about how if I just hop onto social media and we use it to replace teaching or ease our paperwork or just use it to try to simplify processes, it doesn't necessarily lead to good or deeper learning or even student engagement or satisfaction. That's 2014. And she also sort of goes on to talk about how the design for social media tools are generally intended for life or commercial purposes. So, for example, if we don't take the ethics of how Ning or other social media are designed in order to be profit-making tools, there's a chance that we actually accidentally could end up delivering unethical programs of learning by not being responsive. So again, that's one of the reasons why I decided to underpin the entire process with Agile, so that the user stories will then drive the innovation and the push to increase engagement and deepen metacognitive learning and efficacy. So that was really important. And Friesen and Lowe also talk about that more in depth and basically warn about ensuring that you have a balance of ideas and critique in the learning that we present, and also the outcomes that we are also aiming to differentiate more. So with those in mind, I also really wanted to make sure that we are thinking very strongly about how we are going to think about moving from learning management into personal learning environments or online networked learning environments, open online learning networked environments. And again, too, talks about in strategies for building a Web 2.0 learning environment, how that paradigm change, not just thinking about changing the tools that we used to teach by using this digitalized learning hub, but also the way that we do things also has to change in order to support that better collaboration and understanding. So some of those things, we talk about promoting learners' autonomy. We talk about the learning now involving more than content, and it talks about decontextualizing learning and innovating through social learning and sharing, and in fact creating human networks. So in order to do this, the elements have to work together in order to support student empowerment through learning self-regulation. And that is exactly what an independent learning center is supposed to do. So the Ning in particular seemed like a really, really good way of addressing these issues. We also looked a little bit at work-related platforms and becoming more efficient in general as a team, and collecting through Ning features of messages and forums and commenting, that sort of thing that Dixon talks about in 2012, how that can actually enhance not just learning about specific content, but actually life skills learning and maintaining a collaborative community as well. And even though we're not even working towards advocacy, by increasing awareness of what's going on, feedback, and in particular our focus on descriptive feedback and collaboration should hopefully start to make some shifts in student engagement and learning through their engagement with Ning. So as I headed in towards making my action plan, I came up with some strategies, and they sort of covered both broad and specific ways of dealing with how we are going to make sure that these things happen. My specific strategies are largely around planning and roles, and I know in the past, when I think about my leadership style, I haven't always been good in inviting everyone to participate. So